My talk's about getting from 6 to 7 figures as an entrepreneur, dealing with what most people are terrified about, telling them it's not terrifying, showing them it's not terrifying, the financial piece of getting there. That is a great question, and I'm glad you asked it, because that's very much why we have a profit plan. So with my clients, what they end up getting, and what anybody should have as they're moving from the 6 to 7 figures, is a real understanding of when they spend their money, what's the return? And if you're a business that has need to look at things like, I've got different types of clients, I do different industries, I do different countries, there are ways that the way the profit plan should be set up is so that you can look at each of those businesses and say, if I spend an hour here, that's where I make the most money. If I spend an hour here, I don't make quite as much money. And that doesn't mean to say you're not going to spend hours in all of those, but with a profit plan, then there's a story, and you can say, oh, yeah, I'm not going to make as much money here, but I really want to spend time there because that's a marketing investment for me. And without something that you can look at and really relate to as your business's story, you can't do it. You can't do that looking at a balance sheet or an income statement all by itself and go, okay, I grow here. There's a story I tell in the speech about Hannah, and it really was the turning point for me. So I had worked in industry for 20 years, and I knew exactly how to do profit planning for large companies. And I knew the success of those companies absolutely relied on a good, solid understanding of the numbers in the CEO's language. They didn't want to see all the detailed spreadsheets. They wanted to know the answers to their key questions. And it never occurred to me that small businesses didn't have access to this. So in between a couple of my larger company jobs, I started consulting for smaller businesses and noticed two things. One is that there was an amazing lack of clarity around the need for this. People usually want to kill their bookkeeper, hate their bookkeeper, don't have a bookkeeper, or just take that box of receipts and shove it in a drawer and say, I'll deal with it tomorrow. And I knew that had this reputation for being boring, terrifying, and all of that to fix that. And I knew it didn't have to be, because I'd been doing it for 20 years. So it clicked for me when I worked with Hannah that, oh my God, everybody needs this. I know it's a replicable process. I know it can work. I want to get this to as many people as I can and just change the whole reputation of the finance industry. We have not made a good name for ourselves, I don't think, amongst entrepreneurs and small business owners. It's been very commoditized, and you're kind of told, this is what you need and this is why you need it. And you look at it and it makes no sense. And that's not fair of my industry to have done. So my passion really comes from wanting to turn that unfairness around. I think people will be most surprised when they hear this talk about the fact that it's not terrifying and it's not boring. There is a fun and entrepreneur-focused way to get from 6 to 7 figures, even when it has to do with your finances. I think that's going to be the most surprising piece is, wow, really? There's this one thing. One thing. Okay, I can do one thing. Yeah, that's a great question, because really, how do you know what you don't know, right? So in this particular area, you don't know what you don't know. And a bookkeeper or an accountant a lot of times will give you information and you honestly don't know if it's complete or accurate, and you have no way to validate it. So the way I approach things with each of my clients is I've been called a friend in the foxhole. And my whole idea is to get a client somewhere safe and protected and say, all right, let's handle this. And that means to them that I'm going to make this work for them in their language and the way they need it done. So, and that can vary, quite honestly, from person to person, but I've become very good at identifying the least terrifying, least boring way to get this information across. And I think that may lead to clients getting that sort of comfortable feel to them and where that vibe comes from. I'm very passionate about this being something they can use and really, really helping propel their business. If it's not, there's no value in it.